I was raped by Anthony Apuron, who at that time was a priest in Agat, and whom I trusted. I worshiped the ground he walked on. He was my mentor, he's my teacher. He was like a father to me. So I thought he was the priest that I wanted to be. But he took all of that away from me. For 38 years, I have carried a heavy burden. And this tragic incident that I experienced totally changed my direction in my life and what I wanted to be. My name is Walter G. Denton of Agat, Guam. At the young age of 8 years, I was an altar boy for my church in Agat. I always attended church services every Sunday morning with my parents. Watching the altar boys perform their duties during church service motivated my desires to serve God and to become a priest. I attended Mount Carmel Catholic School and also attended Confraternity of Christian Doctrine, CCD classes on the weekends to learn more about God and His teachings. I may have been young, but I knew that that was my calling. Going to church and attending CCD classes was a priority to me. On Friday, April 15, 1977, on or about 5:30 p.m., Father Anthony Apuron was to give a Friday evening service. I was on the schedule to assist Father Anthony Apuron during Mass. After Mass, Father Tony asked me to stay at the rectory on Saturday evening. I told Father Anthony I had to ask my dad, and my dad told me I could. On Saturday evening, April 16, 1977, I went to the rectory where Father Anthony was waiting for me. I asked if anyone else was spending the night, and Father Anthony said no. I felt kind of weird being there by myself. I have never spent the night alone in the rectory with Father Anthony, let alone any other priest. It's always been with other altar boys. After dinner, I was laying on the lazy boy chair. Father Anthony came into the living room and asked me if I was ready to go to sleep. I said I was going to sleep on a lazy boy chair. He said no, and he insisted I sleep in the bedroom with him. I did not feel comfortable. We went into the bedroom and I went straight to bed. I remember feeling so tired, and the next thing I fell asleep. Please forgive me for what I'm about to say. It hurts so much. It hurts so much just thinking about it. It's like it just happened yesterday. Sometime late that evening or early morning, I woke up feeling something. I woke up feeling something or someone on top of me. And I felt something penetrating me. I was pinned down to the bed on my stomach. With my legs spread apart. I could not move my arms or my legs. I felt something going into me, and it hurt so much. I shouted out to Father Anthony to stop. I kept shouting and I tried to move, but all I could feel was him on top of me. It seemed like forever that Father Anthony stayed on top of me. I was crying out to him, asking him to please stop. I kept saying that it hurt so much to please stop. I could hear him moaning and him thrusting himself in me. He finally stopped and he laid down on me like he was resting. He told me it would be all right. He said he would take care of me and give me straight A's in theology. He got off me and I immediately got off the bed. I was crying and breathing hard. I could feel my butt was all wet. I asked him, why did he do that to me? I kept asking him why. He said if I said anything to anyone, no one would believe me. Years later, I joined the U.S. Army and I spent 23 years, 11 months serving my country. Over the course of my career, this whole experience of getting raped by Father Anthony Apuron weighed on me. It bothered me all my life. There were many times when I am alone, I would just break down. I would break down and cry. I promised myself that I would meet Father Anthony one day and I would confront him. Years passed. Between 1999 and 2000, I was stationed at Fort Lewis, Washington State. I was assigned to the 47th Combat Support Hospital. I met a Chamorro guy who mentioned to me that the Bishop of Guam, Anthony Apuron, was coming to his mother's house. He told me that they were all related. He invited me to come over to meet the bishop and I said yes. At that moment I started to feel mad. I couldn't wait to meet the bishop and confront him and tell him how he ruined my life and took away the dreams that I wanted to become, and that was to become a priest. On that Saturday, I went back to the house. The bishop finally arrived. I waited till he was free, and I went up to him and I asked him, do you remember me? He looked at me and he said, Michael? Ooh, that was my younger brother. I said, no. It's me, Walter Denton. I said, now do you remember me? His eyes got really big and it seemed that he was in shock. Right at that moment I told him that I needed to speak to him now. Bishop Apuron said, okay, we can go for a walk. He started to ask me how I was doing and what I've been up to these days. That's when I got mad. I told him that he ruined my life and my dreams. I said to him that he raped me. It took something away from me. I told him that I would never forgive him for what he did to me. I broke down and cried, and he started to cry as well. But that didn't matter to me. I was so angry. I continued to tell him I wanted to be a priest, like him. That he took that, and that I looked up to him, like he was my father. He asked me again for forgiveness, and I said no. This is something you cannot be forgiven for. After walking for a while, we reached the house, and I told Bishop Apuron I was going to leave and head back to my family. Bishop Apuron told me, he said, hold on, because he has something to give me. I saw him reach into his bag, and he handed me a picture of himself. a CD, and a picture of Mother Mary. I looked at him and I said, "Are you serious?" I left, and that was the last time I ever saw him. I know that I am not alone, and that I am not the only one that this has happened to. There are other Agat boys who have experienced the same thing that I have gone through. I only hope and pray that justice will be served to this man, to this individual who did this to me and other young innocent boys. Thank you for your time.